Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're heading back, way back, to 19th century Japan. Think Edo period, strict national isolation. And we're looking at this really bizarre documented incident, something that sounds less like history and more like, well, a modern close encounter of the third kind.
Yeah, we're talking about the Utsuro-bune, the hollow boat, and it poses this fantastic puzzle.
Right.
Why would a pre-industrial society back in 1803 produce these detailed records, even drawings, of something that looks uncannily like a flying saucer?
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack this historical account, look at the folklore side, and then see how this old story connects to our modern obsession with aliens and UAPs.
It really is the perfect storm of history, folklore, and, ufology.
Yeah.
And just for clarity, when we say close encounter of the third kind, a CE3K, we mean seeing not just a craft, but occupants, too. It's not just lights in the sky. We're talking physical presence, interaction.
And finding documents describing that from 1803 Japan, a country deliberately cut off from the West. That's why we're doing this deep dive.
Absolutely fascinating.
Okay, let's get into the really striking details of the event itself. It supposedly happened February 22, 1803. Haraidori Coast, Hitachi Province. That's now part of Kamisu City.
Right. Local fishermen see this weird object floating offshore. They manage to tow it in.
And the descriptions they recorded, these aren't just vague tales. They're in contemporary sources like Toenshisetsu and Hishiri Kishu, local histories, travelogues.
And they're incredibly specific. That's key. They saw a definite shape, disc-like, about 3.3 meters high, 5.4 meters wide.
And they tried to compare it to things they knew, right?
Exactly. They said it was like a kuro, an incense burner, or sometimes like a big rice pot or cauldron, trying to make sense of this strange geometry.
The materials.
Yeah.
That's where it starts to sound really out of place for 1803.
It really does. The top part, reportedly red lacquered rosewood. Okay, maybe plausible. But the bottom half, reinforced with brazen plates. Some accounts even say high-quality Western iron.
Western iron in isolationist Japan.
Yeah, very unusual. Suggests something sturdy, built for travel. And then there were windows, several, made of glass or crystal.
And sealed?
Sealed tight with tree resin.
Yeah.
Like whoever or whatever was inside, it was meant to be fully contained.
Yeah.
Watertight, maybe airtight.
Wow, and inside. They could see inside.
They peered in and saw writings. Texts in a completely unknown script.
Not Japanese, obviously.
Definitely not. Some have tried to link the symbols later to, like, pseudo-Roman characters or even alchemical symbols, but nobody knew what it was then.
It's this level of detail, centuries old, that makes researchers like Kazu and Tanaka call it. What was the quote?
He described it as, quote, the only real UFO mystery in the world, which is a huge claim.
Yeah.
But think about it. Multiple documents, 200 years old, drawings, physical descriptions that just scream flying saucer. 140 years before the modern UFO craze even started in the U.S. in 1947.
That documented history gives it a unique weight, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, so we have this bizarre craft, technologically advanced for its time. Now let's talk about who or what was inside.
Right. Inside, they found a young woman. Looked about 18 to 20 years old. Quite small, maybe 1.5 meters, about 5 feet tall.
And her appearance was just as alien as the craft, apparently.
Totally outside their experience. Skin described as pale pink or even snow white, and bright red hair and eyebrows.
Red hair, okay. Unusual, but maybe not impossible.
But wait, there's more. Her hair was made even longer with artificial white extensions, described as maybe white fur or streaks of powdered textile, a hairstyle completely unknown in Japan at that time.
And her clothes?
Long, smooth, made of some unknown fabric. Very few supplies with her. Just some water, cake, kneaded meat, maybe a couple of bed sheets.
And the box. We have to talk about the box.
Ah, yes, the centerpiece of the human mystery here. She was clutching this wooden box, about 60 centimeters square. Rectangular.
And she wouldn't let anyone near it.
Fiercely protective. Made it very clear, non-verbally, that nobody was to touch it. Guarding it intensely.
So imagine these villagers. They've got this strange boat, this stranger woman who speaks an unknown language, described as sounding metallic.
Yeah, communication was impossible.
And they're terrified not just of her, but of the paperwork.
Pretty much. Under the strict rules of national isolation, reporting a foreign vessel, especially one with an occupant, meant involving the regional lord. That meant a massive investigation. Expensive, complicated, potentially dangerous for the whole community.
So they just pushed her back out to sea. in the boat.
That's what the accounts say.
Yeah.
Fear of the bureaucracy, the cost, the hassle. It outweighed curiosity or, well, basic humanity.
That's bleak. A really brutal decision.
It was, driven by the politics of the Edo period. And that brutality, that strangeness, it immediately pushed them towards folklore to explain it, which leads to the infamous dark theory.
Right, the village elder's explanation.
Yeah, he speculates, trying to make sense of it all,
Yeah.
that she must be a princess from some foreign land, banished for having an affair.
Okay, standard scandalous royalty trope.
But then, to explain why she's guarding the box so fiercely, he theorizes it contains the severed head of her dead lover.
Oh, wow. That's grim.
Incredibly grim. But it instantly connects this completely alien event to existing violent Japanese legends about castaways and punishment. It's a way to process the profound strangeness by translating it into, familiar if horrific human drama.
Chilling. But there's another theory, right? A much less gruesome one, more cultural.
Yes, much more grounded in local tradition. Professor Tanaka, the same researcher, later connected the story to a local legend from that Kamisu City area, the legend of the Golden Princess, Kanjiki Hime.
And this links the Utsuro-bune to silk production.
Exactly, sericulture. In this interpretation, the woman's strange features aren't alien at all. They're symbolic.
How so?
Her pale face represents the silkworm larva. The red or dark features, like her hair and eyebrows, symbolize the chrysalis stage. And those long white hair extensions, they signify the raw silk threads.
Huh. So the whole thing becomes an allegory for silk.
Potentially. The Utsuro-bune story might have been a kind of sensationalized piece of local promotion. Using this weird tale to boost the Golden Princess legend, maybe attract interest or trade related to silk, it turns it from an external mystery into an internal cultural story.
Okay, so that leaves us with two main camps, basically.
Pretty much. On one side, you have the folkloric interpretation. Scholars like Yanagita Kunio, and Tanaka himself leans this way mostly. They argue it's essentially elaborated folklore.
Based on older stories.
Right. Older, simpler traditions of Utsuro-bune hollow boats, often involving foreign noblewomen washing ashore in, basic dugout canoes. The story got embellished over time.
And the woman's weird appearance in the 1803 version.
That, they argue, reflects the very real anxiety Japan had about foreigners during the isolation period. She might have just been a castaway, maybe Russian. Red hair, strange clothes, immediately triggers those red-haired barbarian tropes. Outsiders were often linked to demons or threats.
So they took a simple castaway story and layered on the scary foreigner details. Plus, maybe exaggerated the boat to make it sound more credible or sensational.
That's the folkloric argument, embellished over time for impact.
But the ufologists push back hard.
They do. They say the details are just too specific, too modern-looking. The disc shape, the metal, the windows, the sealed construction. It's too close to a 20th century flying saucer description to be coincidence.
And the script inside.
Crucially, the unknown script. That's hard to explain away with folklore. Some even try to compare it to symbols reported in much later UFO cases, like Rendlesham Forest in the UK in 1980, suggesting maybe a consistent non-human source for these symbols across time.
It is compelling, but there's a big snag for verification, isn't there? For both sides.
A huge snag.
Hmm.
Tanaka's research found nothing. No official government records from the Tokugawa shogunate about this incident at all.
Which is weird for something supposedly so dramatic.
Very weird. And furthermore, the place names used in the stories, Horiyadori, Haratonohama, they seem to be difficult, maybe impossible, to pin down on contemporary maps, although some recent finds might be changing that.
And you mentioned this might have been intentional, a kind of journalistic trick of the time?
Exactly. It was a known technique in things like Kawaraban, those sort of tabloid news sheets back then. You use specific, realistic-sounding place names to make the story feel authentic and immediate.
Gives it credibility.
Right. But you make them slightly off, or maybe fictional, so that officials and later historians can't actually verify the story. It protects the storyteller while making the tale seem real.
So that very lack of official proof, that ambiguity, is kind of the point.
It's certainly why the Utsuro-bune story endures, and why it's such a perfect case study for how modern alien lore works. When the official record is silent, or seems to be, that's where myth flourishes.
That makes total sense. The Utsuro-bune hits all the notes, doesn't it? The mysterious visitor who can't communicate, the forbidden box with unknown contents, the official silence. It's like a template for modern UFO narrative.
It really is. Because belief in, aliens visiting us often taps into what we call mythic continuity. These aren't brand new ideas.
They echo older stories.
Exactly. Ancient archetypes get recycled. Celestial visitors, angels, demons, the Apkallu sages from Mesopotamia, even folktales about changelings. The Utsuro-bune woman, silent, strange, ultimately sent away, fits right in with archetypes like the cryptic gray alien or the fairy changeling returned to the wild.
And your sources pointed out these narratives also serve as coping mechanisms. Back in 1803 Japan, it helped process fears about isolation and foreigners. What about today?
Today, well, think about it. We live in a complex, often confusing techno-scientific world. There's a lot of uncertainty, maybe distrust in institutions. Believing in aliens among us can, paradoxically, provide a kind of order.
How so? It sounds like adding more complexity.
It frames the chaos. Instead of random global events or confusing politics, you posit hidden actors. Maybe they're benevolent guides, maybe they're sinister infiltrators. Either way, it replaces overwhelming uncertainty with a specific, structured narrative. Even if it's scary, it's a narrative of hidden control, not just randomness.
Which leads to this idea of the epistemological gap. Basically, how different groups decide what counts as proof.
Precisely. On one side, you've got science, NASA, AERO, SETI. They demand rigorous data, calibrated sensors, peer review, transparency. And so far, they report finding no verifiable evidence of non-human technology. Zero.
But on the other side,
Popular belief often works differently. It validates alien presence through personal testimony, eyewitness accounts, stories of secrecy, and that feeling of symbolic resonance. If the official explanation is slow, complicated, or feels dismissive,
people assume a cover-up.
right, it becomes confirmation by omission. The lack of clear answers from science or government isn't seen as a lack of evidence, but as proof of concealment. It's a fascinating psychological flip, often driven by that underlying mistrust.
And media plays a massive role in reinforcing this. Shows like The X-Files were huge in normalizing the truth is out there but hidden idea.
Absolutely. And today, it's amplified enormously by digital platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit. These spaces allow testimonies and supposed evidence to spread instantly.
They create echo chambers.
And more than that, they foster what some academics call participatory mythologies. Users aren't just consuming the stories, they're actively co-creating them, sharing interpretations, finding connections, building the narrative together in real time. It makes these beliefs feel incredibly real and socially validated within those online communities.
And the Utsuro-bune is like the historical blueprint for that.
Yeah.
A compelling story that didn't need official sign-off to survive. It survived because it resonated locally, got retold, written down in multiple places.
Exactly right.
So the Utsuro-bune mystery sticks around not because we have definitive proof either way, but because it plugs into these really deep, universal human themes. The mysterious visitor, the container holding secrets, that primal fear and fascination with the ultimate other.
Perfectly put. Alien narratives, whether old like Utsuro-bune or modern like UAP reports, act like cultural mirrors. They reflect back our own stuff, our fears about secrecy, being controlled, encountering difference, but also our hopes.
Hopes.
Yeah, hopes for connection with something bigger, for advanced knowledge, maybe even transcendence. At the end of the day, arguing about whether aliens are real, it's often really an argument about ourselves, our place in the universe, and the stories we tell ourselves to make sense of it all.
Which leaves us with this final thought for you, the listener. The Utsuro-bune is perhaps the most detailed, compelling historical case for a potential UFO encounter. Yet it seems deeply rooted in very human anxieties about foreigners and the unknown from its specific time and place. So does our modern obsession with UAPs and potential government disclosure tell us more about genuine secrets being kept? Or does it reflect our own, perhaps timeless anxieties about our place in a vast, uncertain cosmos?